The dust motes danced in the afternoon sunlight as I sorted through Dad's office, each item a memory, each folder a reminder that he was really gone. Heart attack, they said. Sudden but not unexpected, given the stress he'd been under. Still, at 48, Thomas Warner had seemed invincible to me. My name is Sarah Warner, and this is how I uncovered the dark truth behind Warner Pharmaceuticals' miraculous success. Need any help? Marcus Thompson stood in the doorway, his expensive suit a stark contrast to my casual jeans and sweater. Dad's business partner of 20 years looked perfectly groomed as always, but something about his expression seemed off. "I'm fine," I said, continuing to sort through the papers. "Just trying to get everything organized before the board meeting tomorrow." Marcus nodded, his fingers drumming against the doorframe. "About that, Sarah, the other partners and I have been talking. Given the circumstances, we think it might be best if you considered our buyout offer." I looked up sharply. They'd approached me with the offer just days after Dad's funeral, $15 million for my inherited 40% stake in the company. A fortune to most people, but something about the timing felt wrong. "I told you, Marcus, I'm not selling. Dad built this company from nothing. He wanted me to carry on his legacy." "Sarah," his voice took on that patronizing tone I'd heard too often lately. "Your father was a brilliant man, but running a pharmaceutical company requires experience. You're 28 with a background in computer science. What do you know about drug development?" More than you think, I wanted to say. Dad had been grooming me to take over for years, teaching me every aspect of the business since I was old enough to understand. But lately, something had changed. In the months before his death, he'd become distant, worried. "The offer expires tomorrow," Marcus continued. "After that, well, things might get complicated." Was that a threat? Before I could ask, his phone buzzed. "I have to take this. Think about it, Sarah. 15 million is a lot of money for someone your age." After he left, I sat in Dad's leather chair, trying to think. The company was doing better than ever. Our new cancer drug showing promising results in clinical trials. Why were they so eager to push me out? Standing to stretch, I noticed something odd about the bookshelf behind Dad's desk. One of the medical texts was slightly askew. When I tried to straighten it, it wouldn't move. Instead, there was a soft click. A section of the bookshelf swung inward, revealing a small room behind it. My heart pounding, I grabbed my phone for light and stepped inside. The room was barely larger than a closet, its walls lined with filing cabinets. A desk lamp sat on a small table, along with a sealed envelope with my name on it. With trembling fingers, I opened the letter. "My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, I'm either dead or unable to tell you the truth myself. Our company's success, everything we've built, is based on lies. The evidence is in these files. Don't trust Marcus or the others. They know what really happened, and they'll do anything to keep it hidden. I'm so sorry for involving you in this. I thought I could fix it before you had to know, but time is running out. Be careful, be smart, and remember that I love you, no matter what you might think of me after learning the truth. Dad." I stared at the letter, my world tilting on its axis. Dad had been the most ethical person I knew. He built Warner Pharmaceuticals on the principle that profit should never come before patient care. The filing cabinets were meticulously organized, each drawer labeled by year. I started with the most recent, pulling out the first folder. Inside was a detailed report about our new cancer drug, WP-254. But these weren't the results I'd seen in company presentations. According to these documents, the drug wasn't just ineffective. It was dangerous. My phone buzzed, making me jump. A text from Lisa, Dad's former assistant. "Sarah, we need to talk." "Not at the office. It's about your father's death. Meet me at Riverside Park in an hour." I took photos of the documents with trembling hands, then carefully closed the hidden door. Whatever was going on, I needed more information before confronting Marcus and the board. The park was quiet when I arrived, just a few joggers braving the autumn chill. Lisa sat on a bench overlooking the river, nervously checking her phone. "Sarah," she stood as I approached. "Thank you for coming. I've been wanting to tell you about your father." "What about him?" "The night he died," she glanced around nervously, "he called me, asked me to come to the office. He said he had proof that Marcus and the others were falsifying drug trial data. He was going to expose everything at the next board meeting." My blood ran cold. "Are you sane?" I think they killed him, Sarah. And I think they're going to try to kill you too if you don't take that buyout offer. Before I could respond, a jogger passed close to our bench. Too close. I caught a glint of metal in his hand. Lisa, run. But it was too late. The crack of a silenced pistol was followed by Lisa crumpling to the ground. I turned to flee, but the jogger was faster, grabbing my arm. Ms. Warner, he said calmly, as if he hadn't just murdered someone, Mr. Thompson would like to speak with you. I did the only thing I could think of. I screamed, loud enough to make the jogger flinch, loosening his grip just enough. I twisted away, thanking God for those self-defense classes Dad had insisted I take. Running through the park, I could hear footsteps behind me. My car was too far. Instead, I headed for the crowded shopping district 2 blocks away. The killer couldn't risk exposing himself in public. My phone buzzed again. Marcus. Sarah, where are you? We need to discuss the company's future. I ducked into a coffee shop, trying to steady my breathing. Lisa was dead. Dad had been murdered. And the company he'd built, the legacy he'd wanted me to protect, was built on fraud. But I wasn't without resources. Dad had taught me more than just business. He taught me to plan for everything. Opening my phone's secure folder, I activated a program I'd written years ago. Within seconds, I had remote access to Warner Pharmaceuticals' entire network. Time to find out exactly what Marcus and his partners were trying to hide. The barista gave me an odd look as I sat in a corner, furiously typing on my phone. On the surface, Warner Pharmaceuticals' network looked normal. But I knew there had to be more. Dad's hidden files proved that. Then I found it. A second set of books, carefully concealed behind layers of encryption. The real trial data, showing years of falsified results. Drugs that should never have been approved, side effects that were hidden, deaths that were covered up. My hands shook as I downloaded everything to a secure cloud server. The evidence was clear. Marcus and the board had been running a criminal enterprise worth billions, all while Dad tried desperately to stop them. But why hadn't he gone to the authorities? The answer had to be in those files in his office. Files I couldn't access now that Marcus knew I'd discovered the truth. My phone buzzed one more time, an email from Marcus's private account that my program had intercepted. She found the room. Implement contingency plan. No loose ends this time. I looked out the coffee shop window at the darkening sky. Somewhere out there, Marcus's killer was still searching for me. And tomorrow was the board meeting where they expected me to sign away my shares. They thought they were dealing with a naive young woman in over her head. They didn't know that Thomas Warner's daughter had inherited more than just his shares. I'd inherited his determination to expose the truth, no matter the cost, and they're trying to kill me. Over the next hour, I explained everything. The hidden room, the falsified drug trials, the murders disguised as accidents. Helen listened without interrupting, her face growing grimmer with each revelation. "Show me the data," she finally said. I connected my phone to her secure computer, displaying the files I'd downloaded. Helen's expertise wasn't just in computer science. She'd worked for the FDA before entering academia. She'd know if what I found was as bad as I thought. It was worse. She shook her head in horror. "Sarah, they didn't just falsify trial results. They deliberately covered up deaths in the clinical trials. UP254 isn't just ineffective. It accelerates tumor growth in certain patients. But it's already been approved by the FDA," I said. "People are taking it right now, based on fraudulent data." Helen's fingers flew across the keyboard. "And not just WP254. Look at these other trials. They've been doing this for years. Why didn't Dad stop them sooner?" Night had fallen by the time I arrived at the one place I knew I'd be safe, Professor Helen Chen's house. My former computer science mentor had become like a second mother after Mom died, and more importantly, she had a panic room with no digital footprint. "My God, Sarah," Helen gasped when she saw me. "You look terrible." I probably did. Hours of running, hiding, and hacking had left me exhausted, but I couldn't rest. Not yet. "They killed Dad," I said as she ushered me inside. "And Lisa." Helen pulled up another document. "They were blackmailing him. Remember when your mother died? The car accident? What about it?" "According to this, it wasn't an accident. They arranged it when your father first threatened to expose them. The message was clear: stay quiet or Sarah dies next. The room spun. Mom's death, which had devastated us 5 years ago, had been murder. Dad had spent years trying to gather evidence while playing along with Marcus's schemes, all to protect me. The board meeting is in 10 hours, I said. They expect me to sign over my shares. You can't go. They'll kill you the moment they have what they want. They'll kill me anyway. I stood up, pacing the room. But Dad left me everything I need to stop them. We just have to figure out how. Helen watched me pace, a thoughtful expression on her face. What exactly did your father teach you about the company? Everything. The business operations, the research protocols, the security systems. I stopped. The security systems. A plan began forming in my mind. Crazy, dangerous, but possibly brilliant. Helen, I need your help. And we'll need to call in a few favors. The next morning, I walked into Warner Pharmaceuticals headquarters exactly on schedule. Marcus was waiting in the lobby, all smooth concern. Sarah, we were worried when we couldn't reach you yesterday. Sorry, I smiled apologetically. Needed time to think about your offer. Where's the board meeting? Main conference room. Everyone's waiting. He gestured toward the elevators. After you. As we rode up to the executive floor, I thought about the pieces already in motion. Helen had made her calls. Everything was ready. The boardroom was full, all 8 partners sitting around the massive table, their faces masks of professional concern. The contract lay ready at my usual seat. Sarah, Gerald Winston, our chief legal counsel, stood to greet me. We've prepared the paperwork. $15 million, as discussed. All you need to do is sign. I sat down, picking up the contract. Actually, I had some questions first. Marcus's smile tightened slightly. Of course. But let's keep it brief. We have other matters to discuss. Like WP-254's real trial results. The room went silent. Gerald's face paled. Or perhaps, I continued, we should discuss what really happened to my father. Sarah, Marcus's voice was dangerously soft. I don't know what you think you found, but you're clearly confused. Oh, I'm not confused at all. I opened my laptop, connecting it to the room's display screen. In fact, I'm seeing things very clearly for the first time. The screen filled with documents, the real trial data, the falsified reports, the evidence of years of fraud. You've been busy, Marcus said coldly. But those files could be altered. No one will believe. They already do. I pressed a button on my phone. The room's doors opened, revealing a team of FBI agents. Say hello to the federal task force that's been investigating Warner Pharmaceuticals for the past 12 hours. Marcus lunged for me, but the agents were faster. As they read him his rights, I turned to the other board members. Did you know my father installed secondary cameras in this room years ago? The ones you don't know about? They recorded everything, including your conversation last week about arranging his accident. Gerald tried to run but was quickly tackled. The other board members sat frozen as agents moved to arrest them. You were right about one thing, I told Marcus as they led him away. Dad did teach me everything about this company, including how to protect it from people like you. The next few hours were a blur of federal agents, reporters, and chaos. Warner Pharmaceuticals stock was suspended from trading. The FDA launched an emergency review of all our drugs, and I found myself in an interrogation room, explaining everything to the lead investigator. Your professor friend called us yesterday, Agent Roberts told me. But we've actually been watching Warner Pharmaceuticals for months. We just couldn't prove the fraud. Your father's evidence changed everything. Will it be enough to convict them? Conspiracy and murder? Oh yes. They're looking at life sentences, especially once their hired killer flipped on them. Turns out professional assassins don't like being stiffed on payment. I thought about Lisa, about Mom, about Dad's years of silent struggle. What happens to the company now? That's largely up to you. As majority shareholder, you have options. But first, he slid a folder across the table. You should see this. Inside was a letter from Dad to the FBI, dated just days before his death. If you're reading this, I'm probably dead. But my daughter Sarah has everything you need to expose the truth. Trust her. She's smarter than any of them realize, and she has something they never will, integrity. Tears blurred my vision. Even at the end, Dad had believed in me. 1 year later, I stood in the newly renovated lobby of Warner Medical Research Institute. The pharmaceutical company was gone, replaced by a nonprofit dedicated to ethical drug research and development. The billions recovered from Marcus and the board's hidden accounts funded free treatment for victims of their fraudulent drugs. Dad's old office was now a memorial library, but I'd kept one thing, the hidden room. Not to hide secrets, but to remind me why transparency matters. The bookshelf still swings open, but now it reveals a small museum documenting the scandal and its resolution. Helen joined me on the Institute's board of directors, helping ensure our research meets the highest ethical standards. We established the Thomas Warner Whistleblower Fund, supporting others who risk everything to expose corporate fraud. The media called it the biggest pharmaceutical scandal in history. The story had everything: murder, corruption, a dramatic takedown. Some Hollywood producers even approached me about movie rights. But for me, it was simpler. It was about a father who sacrificed everything to protect his daughter and do what was right. About a legacy that wasn't measured in dollars but in lives saved. Marcus and the others went to prison for life. During the trial, he asked to speak with me one last time. "You could have taken the money," he said, $15 million. "Why didn't you?" I showed him the last photo taken of Dad and me at my college graduation, because some things are worth more than money. Dad taught me that. These days, when people ask about Warner Medical Research Institute's success, I tell them it's built on 3 principles: transparency, integrity, and justice. The same principles Dad believed in, that he died protecting. The hidden room stays open now, a reminder that the truth, however painful, must never stay buried. And every morning, when I pass Dad's portrait in the lobby, I remember his final message to me. She's smarter than any of them realize, and she has something they never will: integrity. He was right about the integrity part. As for being smarter, well, I learned from the best.